Okay, part 2 is here. In this video, we'll quickly go over the changes that I made, the new assets, the new look, the rebranding, quick summary over all of that, and we'll work with the little progress photos and recordings I was able to get because I was on a crunch. I needed this up ASAP so I could show it to potential clients and apply for jobs because the economy is a bit rough right now, for me personally. But we're in there, we're getting work, we're making it happen. Yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. I ended up redesigning the whole thing instead of just making little tweaks. It's time for a new logo. I feel like it deserves a proper send-off. Yeah, on screen there should be some sketches of the drafting I was going through. And at first it started off with the original logo and how I could make changes to it. But then I was kind of thinking like, why am I still gonna put JC when I'm pretty much branded everywhere as like Adjustn? So I wanted to go with that. And the funny thing about that is the word mark which says Adjustn was actually a last minute addition because I decided to just go with an icon at first. I'll link a video that made me realize why I should just go for like something more recognizable that pops, because I was kind of stuck making the logo, mostly because I was trying to be like, oh, how am I gonna put what represents me into a logo right here? Like what am I gonna do? But there's a neat video I watched. I forgot who exactly it was from, but I will put a link down below. Basically just saying a logo is not supposed to represent what the services are, what you do, or all of that. It's just a face. It's supposed to be recognizable, and that's it. Well, that might be oversimplifying it, but that's pretty much what I took from it, and it really helped me get out of that block. So once I thought of that, I was just like, okay, what's something cool that kind of matches as well? And then I was thinking like, you know, my love for these aesthetics in video, I decided to kind of take from that, and I was just experimenting at first with shapes and compositions. And another cool tip I took from the same channel was start with like simple shapes, because simple shapes at the end of the day will be a lot more recognizable. I don't know what's the word for it. Adaptable, I guess. Or actually, another rule I followed when making this was cutting it in half and seeing if it was still recognizable. Again, I took a lot away from that video, and it really helped me out of my slump because I was stuck on this. It's always hard designing stuff for yourself. Yeah, so I ended up going with what you see now, and how I got to that was just composing various little shapes together, and then all of a sudden an idea clicked, you know. I was thinking like, what about like a media menu? But then I make the media menu into like an image, so I ended up making an eye. It was pretty cool arriving to that conclusion because it really felt like an epiphany. I was like, what the why didn't I think of this sooner? So basically it ended up being two triangles facing opposite sides of each other and a circle in the middle when I was doing those little shape compositions. And I looked at it and I was like, this kind of looks like an eye. I went with that. It was just like right there, just it's like lightning struck. And then after that I kind of just refined it a bit with help from my girlfriend, who is pretty damn talented herself. So I went with that, and I'm really proud of how it went, or how it came out. There's a bunch of versions I wanted to try, and there's some runners up in my drafts, so I decided to try and see how those look too. But I mean, my heart was set, and for good reason. I think I'm not a logo designer, but I have like some knowledge and background in graphic design because of school, but I think this is like the best thing I made. And then I don't know, I just felt like I needed a word mark just in case, you know, because I like pairing the two. So last minute I decided to take one of the fonts that I was going to start using for my personal branding, and then I just typed out Adjustn. But I was wondering, okay, how do I feel like I can add a little bit to this just to kind of give it some flavor. So I removed the little serif on the J, even though it was a sans serif font, just to completely make it the way I wanted to, because I personally don't like having that little horizontal line on the J. And then beyond that, I was thinking, what if I add those little rectangle distortions you get, or like those blocks that appear in old video, because it just matches. That's like my style. So I ended up making that what made the horizontal line on the A, but then there's a bit of horizontal displacement on it, just as if it was a old messed up video. And I did another one on the way right on the N, but in a negative space format to kind of imply this eye shape too. And in a way, this kind of added some sort of symmetry to it. One rectangle here, another one over there. I'm just proud of how it came out. And also made some animations for it as well. And next, the layout. Let's briefly go over the layout of the new site compared to the old one. It's just a lot simpler and a lot cleaner. I'm just taking advice from what my brother said and taking reference from really nice and clean video portfolios. One I referenced being Stink Studios, or Stink Film rather. I couldn't get it exactly like it, and I didn't really want it to be exactly like it anyways, because you know, it's got to be mine. You land right on the showreel with the work. So, you know, anyone I send to this website, that's most likely the first thing they want to see anyways. So it's just right there. Everything else is just extra on the top bar, from like about to blog. And then I have 2 tabs on here that kind of interesting additions. So the first one is creator services. I wanted to branch out into editing content for people who do like, you know, YouTube videos. They stream and they need someone to make highlights of their streams or vlogs or any of that stuff. Stuff that I like to watch on a regular basis anyways. I feel like since I've always had an interest in it, it would be easier anyways. And coming into this space, I noticed there's like a lot of people that don't have like a formal or professional background on it, and you know, that's great. Like, I think that's awesome that this is like a really good entry point for some people, but I thought that I'd have an edge with my experience, so I figured might as well try it out just as another source of income. And I added that there, and there's like a little show reel because I don't have any clients yet for this, and I'm just gonna build up my own YouTube content to kind of show as what I can do for them. But if that ends up taking off, I'm probably not gonna do this anyways because I just focus on my channels, but you know, just for the options. And then the next one is restricted. That one is just work that I'm not publicly allowed to show. So this one's more like if people want to message and see exactly what's there. It's pertaining to motion graphic work, so that's really it. It's nothing like scandalous or spicy. It's nothing like not safe for work. Well, yeah, nothing not safe for work. Okay, so let's talk about typography. My brother mentioned this a lot in the last video, and if you watched it, then you probably know that. I just wanted to clean it up, and I'm still learning how to make better decisions in typography, and I decided to put more variation in sizing and make sure to play around with alignment and spacing better so that it's just more pleasant to look at. And I guess the biggest improvement I'd say I made was just having more distinction in, or like hierarchy, visual hierarchy, just using size. Hopefully I did well on that part. Okay, so let's talk about the visuals and the branding. Visuals are an obvious choice. It's just me strengthening what I already liked and was putting in my work anyways, but now it's just very much more like in your face and more apparent that this is what I like and this is what I do, this is what I prefer. I still want to show versatility though, so that's why like there's different types of content and like stuff I've made like in the gallery, but you know, the packaging of everything on the site, it's just reflective of my personal brand. That's what we discussed in the last video, and I just wanted to implement that. So I did that in a couple ways. I made sure that each video on the site has like a custom template for the thumbnail. Again, I took inspiration from Stink Films here, but I made it my own. So I put the logo there, put some glitching on the footage, at least that's what it looks like, and then it's like kind of revealing this back layer where the logo is there. And I also used that as a way to put text and give the text like a clean background so it's easily like readable. And on top of that, I think I added more branding there in terms of these little animations I made. I'm gonna implement these on new creations, and I think there might have been some in the previous video. I'll cut to an example here, but that's about it for branding. I'm just gonna keep going strong on that one and find more ways to implement it, you know. Alright, let's talk about the showreel. So during 2021, it was a bit of a rough time considering that was still like a peak pandemic time. And you know, where I stay, there was really not much money to go around to spend on media. So work was a bit hard to get. Luckily, that's also like when I launched my clothing brand, so I ended up giving myself a lot of work. It was really fun. I really feel like I had the freedom to just make, well, 2 things: videos for a clothing brand, which is something I've always wanted to do, and product videos. Now, I want to make more films and music videos, but we'll get to that later. So the bulk of my showreel is just stuff I made for Adjustn. But there's also some work in there because I managed to get some work, but it was really rough that year, so it's mostly just my own work on here. But honestly, not to like toot my own horn, but I think I did a pretty damn good job on the showreel, at least showcasing what I can do and what I did do. I'm not married to it anymore. Like the thing I posted, I'm trying to just have that mentality where, you know, stuff I post, it's out there. It's no longer mine. And already looking back at it, like I said in the previous video, I can see ways to improve it and stuff I want to do to it. But we'll just save that for the next showreel. Okay, and last, I just want to talk about the About page real quick. So this one, I actually took inspiration on the layout from my brother. If you check out his page, he has an About page that's pretty straight to the point. It's just mostly text, and yeah, I mean, it's all you need to know, right? So I basically just took his layout, put my words in it, and put myself in there. Personally, I love writing, and I've always loved writing, but there's just been long periods where I've gone without doing it, and I'm trying to change that this year. Or actually this year and moving forward, because I've been writing blogs, I want to write more short films, and it was really fun writing this About page. Also, copywriting seems pretty interesting, but I digress. If you made it to the end, thanks again for watching the whole thing. You really didn't have to, you know that, but I appreciate it. I really do. Subscribe if you want to. Either way, new videos are coming. I'm gonna treat this channel more as like my creative journey with creations on as well, like creations on the channel. And it just makes it feel easier for me to keep up with the content and post things, if I think about it that way. But yeah, I digress. Thanks again for watching. See you soon. TikTok transition.